I'd like to welcome today's guest, Point of Rental's Senior Vice President of Global Technology, Evan Fort. Evan, welcome to the Front Porch.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here.
Good.
Welcome to the Front Porch with Brian Beaudry.
Okay, we want to start with the basics. So who are you, even though we know your name is Evan Fort? Where are you from? And, well, what do? You have a really kind of expansive title.
Yeah, absolutely. So who am I? Evan Fort. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and that's actually where I started working during college, and I went to school up here. So after a couple of internships and whatnot in Houston, moved up to Dallas and have been working here full time. My entire career has been in SaaS, cloud-based software, and excited to keep up with all of the changes that are happening in that, which seems every day something new. So
that's why you're the Senior Vice President of Global Technology?
Yeah.
You have to know about all technology throughout the globe?
Yeah. So the reason why it's technology is because I own I own the development team as well as the QA team and the operations. We call them technical operations. But basically the people who do all of the hosting and keep the systems up and running and reliable and fast. So there's a bunch of different teams. Technology is just a general word to mean all of those things. So ultimately my team is responsible for delivering everything to the actual customer that uses it. And so we write the software, we do the hosting, we manage the quality, and then we work with the rest of the organization to do all of the other pieces that are required to create for a good customer experience.
Okay. I can see why it would be just global technology. It seems like a real pain to list out every single thing. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we simplified it a little bit. All right. Now we're going to jump back into your past. So what did you want to be when you were a kid, whenever you remember having like your first answer for what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was given a manila folder in second grade and told to draw my life. And I still have this manila folder. I'd have to go find it. But ultimately, the goal was for me to become a doctor because at that point in time, we only know so many careers.
Yeah.
And so I was going to become a doctor. In middle school, kind of dating myself a little bit here, the internet became a real thing that people used reliably from home. AOL added the internet button, I think in 1996. And that's when I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I absolutely moved as quickly as possible to get a career in making websites at the time, but definitely quickly moved into making web software as my first real job. So.
Okay, so as soon as you saw the internet, you were just like, nope, no more med school in my future, no more medicine. There wasn't a traumatic experience with a bunch of blood, because sometimes that happens with some of the people.
To be fair, I think I would make a terrible doctor because I absolutely do have a fear of blood, and it would have been a bad choice.
All right, well, I'm glad you found the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, what are some of your career highlights as far as what you've done? Actually, what did you first do out of school?
Sure. So my first internship in college was working on the performance management system for a Fortune 100 oil company.
Okay.
I think we call them energy companies now. And so I was writing ASP Classic applications running on a local network that we used to do performance ranking and management and deal with salaries and pay increases across the entire organization. That was a great internship. I learned a ton. I learned about working at a Fortune 100 company, but also how to really develop software and do it correctly. And then I've taken that forward in my career. So I went from there, parlayed that into another company doing performance management and HR systems. So I was there for 10 years and did a bunch of different work across all of the different disciplines that we managed. It was a suite of tools. So we managed a bunch of different products kind of all under one umbrella. And was there for 10 years, eventually became the CTO of that company, and eventually decided I wanted to move on and do something different. And the retail space was really exciting to me, and rental and retail are tied very closely together.
Yeah.
And so I found Point of Rental and came
Gosh,
here.
whoa, calm down. We got a next question. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
First, I want to know, like, so you were just straight into technology immediately. You never had any, like, service jobs. Like, I was working at McDonald's. So that was my first job. You didn't have any of those?
Oh, well, my very first job, I was babysitting, but my second job it was in IT. So I worked for the local school district, and at the time, with absolutely no experience and being, young and able to carry things, did a whole lot of like moving computers around, doing preventative maintenance, but also some IT work too. So fixing Windows machines and dealing with, this was of course Tolkien ring networks and dot matrix printers back then, but still very, it was a great eye-opening experience to an entire world that existed.
So were you the one that the teachers would like call into, and you would, whenever they couldn't log in or couldn't handle whatever they were about to present, and you would come in and you would fix it for them?
Well, you have to remember, when I was in school, nobody logged into anything. So,
all right. Well, I just want to picture you being called by a teacher, and you have to come into class, and there's all these students just like waiting for you to figure whatever out.
Yeah. Well, mostly I worked during breaks. So we would go do these big projects. They would build a new school, and they need to populate all the computer labs. I'd get called in, and me and my group of people would go set them all up and do all of the Windows imaging and things like that. So, yeah, we actually didn't get real Ethernet networks until my last year. So before then, it was all, everything just kind of ran on the computer. And if you wanted to update something, it meant getting a floppy disk or a CD-ROM and walking around the room. So.
So once the Ethernet hit, you were like, all right, that's enough of this. Time to move on to
well, that's when the internet was real too. So it was like, oh, there's opportunity here. So.
Okay. All right. So you've already kind of said that you found Point of Rental. It wasn't a case where Point of Rental found you?
It's a little bit of both. So I had expressed interest in finding something in a different industry to a couple of recruiters, and that one of those recruiters was working with Point of Rental, and so they made the introduction, and that's how it all got started.
Okay, so I know we've talked to Robert Flock a while ago. He mentioned, I think, that you were just in charge of building that first Essentials team, but talk me through kind of that process and what went into your mind as far as building a team here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wayne had a visionary moment that the world of rental was going to be going towards the cloud. He had that 10 years ago, which it turns out he's completely right. Like, that's what the customers are expecting. And rental has been a market that's been kind of slow to adopt some of the modern technologies across the board. There's always forerunners who are interested in things, but so we were there at the very beginning, and we had, if not the very first purely cloud-based rental management system, one of the early ones in our space. And so, yeah, I was hired to build a team and create a separate product that was going to be cloud first and available to a different kind of customer that Point of Rental used to sell to. So obviously the expert and elite products are still have the largest feature set and the ability to run an entire rental business, but there's this other group of customers that need something different, and Essentials is designed to fill that space.
Yeah. So it's more of a case of like, look, I don't need all the bells and whistles, just some bells and some whistles.
Right, exactly. Of course, everybody needs different bells and different whistles, so you end up eventually developing everything, but it takes time. So
yeah. Okay, so what are you looking for when you're building that team? Because obviously you're coming into a position that has never existed. You're building an entirely new product. I don't imagine that you already knew everyone that you were going to bring onto the team. How did that go?
Right, exactly. So the good news about coming from the recruiting space is I already had access to a lot of tools and knew a lot of people and the ways to find team members. I brought Robert with me, actually. Robert and I have known each other for, I think almost 20 years now.
Oh, so you did know some of it.
I did know some of my team, yeah. And I knew that Robert and I were a good yin and yang for each other. We have different strengths and different weaknesses, and we fill in for each other. So I think that works well. And then filling out the rest of that team just involved a lot of interviews and finding the right people who were excited about the challenge that we had, finding people who we thought could really run with something new and interesting and get it done quickly. And I think we found a great team. And so it was a small group of, I think, 5 people originally. Some of them are still here in different positions, and some have moved on and done their own thing, took that and found something else they wanted to do. And so that worked out great.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we have at least 3 of you guys still here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I know who the whole 5 are. Okay, so what have been some of the challenges from growing from overseeing a small team? Obviously, you had your handful of people, to now you're again global technology, a large group of people. What are some of the challenges in moving up that management level?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could do a 20-hour TED talk about this, but I was lucky that in my previous position, I already had some of that experience. So working as the CTO of a large software company, I kind of knew what to expect. Granted, the world changes. And so the expectations of software developers and software as a whole has changed over the years and continues to change. So it's all about adapting, learning, doing things differently, doing things that fit the particular team and the particular type of situation that we have. The further you get away from the actual customer, sometimes the harder it is to understand their perspective. And so I definitely know that it's important to stay engaged with customers and also to stay engaged with the technical aspects of the team. So I don't want to be a VP that doesn't innately and intimately understand the way that our technology is put together. So I still have a deep knowledge of that and trying to stay connected with what is happening day to day in the dev teams, but also understanding the rental market as a whole, because while I am not by myself responsible for deciding everything that goes into the product, we have entire teams that manage those things. Understanding our space and how it's changing, what's changing in rental, allows me and my team to stay ahead of what those demands are going to be. So looking out at rental companies and understanding how they work, understanding the transitions that they're all making right now into the web, into mobile devices and whatnot, is going to be a big part of the future for rental. And those expectations are starting to become more and more common. So we have to stay ahead of that and deliver the kinds of things that people want to accomplish their jobs, actually support their customers every day.
For sure. Okay, what's your favorite part about your current role?
My favorite part about my current role is the team that I work with. I think that we've put together a great team. There's been a lot of people who have come from a lot of different places with great different skill sets. And we've developed a lot of really great teams that work well together. Everybody understands their strengths and how they can work together to benefit the product. And putting those teams together and working collaboratively across team to actually solve customers' problems and get things done. I absolutely love that part of my job. And I try to lean into it as much as I can to get people to kind of understand the bigger picture of what it is we're trying to do for our customers.
For sure. Okay, so I mean, you had this job at the school district, and you left like a year after you got Ethernet, and you had this job as a CTO. It seems like you left shortly after that. You're not going to leave us like soon, are you? Now that you're the senior vice president of global technology,
yeah,
you're not going to be like, time to go to another industry, right?
Yeah, I guess I have that cycle. It's every 10 years I get a new job, right?
Yeah, so. and we just hit your 10, right?
Yeah, maybe you should watch out.
Yeah.
No, I think it's going great, and there's a lot of opportunity and headroom here at Point of Rental. This is still a very interesting industry. I'm excited about the changes in rental and the direction that the rental industry as a whole is going, as well as Point of Rental. I think we have a ton of opportunity and cool stuff that we can do. and I'm still really excited about it.
Good. We're still challenging you. That's what.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. If I'm ever not challenged for 3 hours, I'll come by and let you know. But so far, it hasn't happened.
Okay. You kind of started getting into this a little bit, but what should point of rental users, or really anyone using rental software, understand about what it's like to develop a lot of the software features that people ask for? I know I think of a lot of great ideas for software, and obviously when I'm coming up with the idea, it's like, oh, this should be super easy because we have something kind of similar or a couple of pieces. What's something that someone who maybe has that mindset should know about the challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. Software development is it's a little bit different than building a bridge. Sometimes people make the analogy that if you can build a bridge, you kind of understand the project and how to put it together, and then at the end you have a bridge. And software development is a little bit different because it's almost as if one day you're going to build a bridge, and then the next day you're going to build a building, and then the next day you're going to build a shopping mall or something. So while all of the building blocks of development are the same, and we have a good understanding of those things, creating a new and useful experience for the customer that's easy to understand and flows the right way, that's where the magic is. And it's relatively easy to add an individual, add a field on a form or something like that. It's not hard. What is hard is doing it in a way that people just innately understand when they land on that page and they go, oh yeah, I understand what I'm trying to do here. And the entire experience of interacting with this application makes sense to me, and it flows from point A to point B. And that's where a lot of the time and energy comes in. So when somebody brings us a new idea, we get great ideas all the time. We have the Innovate platform that allows us to solicit ideas from customers and internal people, and people vote them up. And we have an entire team who spends a good portion of their life in that tool, planning out future programs and things like that. And a lot of those ideas are great. We source actually the vast majority of our ideas from there. So we get a lot of good input from our customers. The challenge is often looking at, okay, this one customer has this one problem because of the way that they operate their business. How do we solve it? And then stepping back and thinking, how do we solve that in a generic way that it benefits more than just that one customer? Because the last thing we want is a bunch of special functionality written just for one customer that doesn't work for anybody else. So the genericizing of that, making it configurable, making it, as we call it, discoverable, in that somebody can just discover it whenever they need it, that's where the magic lies, and that's what makes it harder.
Yeah, I was just starting to think about some of the things that we develop even in marketing, where you have that challenge of sometimes you have too much knowledge. So like, hey, I've done this process this way, I want to add a thing. It's like, okay, well, it makes sense if you already have all this previous knowledge and this is how you already do this, but it wouldn't make sense to someone who hasn't used the software before and doesn't use it that way. So yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, and we have a very unique challenge because point of rental has been around for 40 years, and we have customers that have been on the Expert platform for 30 years. And so they have a certain innate knowledge of how they operate and how the business operates. And it's really easy to just go make a small change to Expert and everybody just kind of knows how it works because they have that background. But when you take a brand new customer who's never seen Expert before and put it on it, you have to make sure that process is also easy and makes sense. And so designing for that is the challenge. You got to design for the expert, but also design for the person who is new to it and trying to discover how it works.
Okay. All right. Now before we get into your non-professional life, we're going to play a game. Okay.
Okay.
The game is called Fort or Fort No. If you agree with the statement or it's true, say Fort. And if you disagree with it or if it's not true, say Fort No. And then I need a reason. I'm sorry for turning your last name into a substitute for a swear word, but
okay. Well, it is a 4-letter F word, so
yeah. All right. So Fort or Fort No. You've hidden snacks so that no one else will find them and you can eat them later.
Fort. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you allowed to tell us any of these hiding places, or are there some that have maybe you don't use them anymore?
Well, the nice thing about having an office is I have 600 drawers in there, and it would take you a good 3 minutes probably just to go dig for them.
Okay, yeah, and you do look suspicious rifling through 600 drawers if you don't know where they already are. Okay. Fort or Fort no? If you could find out how you were going to die, you would want to know.
Fort no.
Okay. Would you like to know when you're going to die?
Fort no. I'd rather not know.
Okay, good.
Can you imagine just having to you just know that and you're like, well, all right, I got 97 minutes left.
I was going to say it really depends on the answer.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Fort or Fort no? You've told an outrageous lie to a child.
Oh, Fort, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the small joys I have in life is telling outrageous lies to my nieces and nephews so that they go back to their parents and ask them if it's real.
Do you have a specific example?
Oh, no. I just, I grew up, I had a little brother, and I remember one time I told some silly lie to my brother, and he goes to my mom, and he's like, crying, and I can't believe Evan told me this thing. I don't even remember what the thing was. And she goes, Justin, what do we always tell you? Never believe anything Evan says. I'm like, yeah, it was always fun to me to play games with my little brother.
Okay, so hopefully, since I'm not a child, you're not lying to me throughout this entire interview.
Yeah, hopefully.
Good. All right, Fort or Fort no? You prefer working from home to working at the office?
That's actually kind of hard. I'm going to say Fort no. I like the mix. So we have a hybrid approach to all the entire engineering team. And there are people who are in here every day, and there are people who are in here once a week. So depending on the team and the way that they work, we structure it differently. I try to come in 3 days a week, and I do really like the time in the office. I think it's a good kind of mix to be able to allow to do both. If I'm going to do a big project where I'm heads down on something all day long, I want to be home because I'm actually more productive, kind of with my door shut.
Yeah.
But if I need to interact with people and kind of talk about what we're getting done, the office it's hard to replace that with Zoom calls and chats.
For sure. It's also kind of awkward to be like, okay, now I need to actually schedule a time instead of just popping by. Hey, I need a quick answer on a thing.
Exactly.
Plus, this way you get to be a surprise guest on a podcast.
Yes.
All right. Fort or Fort no? You've lied about seeing a movie or having seen a movie. Sorry.
Fort no. I can't imagine I've ever lied about seeing a movie.
Okay. So there's never a situation where people are talking about a movie and because you seem like a person who knows generally about a lot of things, and I know I pick up I know a lot about movies that I've never seen because of the internet.
Cultural osmosis.
Yeah. Exactly. So there's no situations.
No, I mean, the other day somebody was saying, well, I say the other day, it's 8-10 years ago.
It was the other day.
Talking about Die Hard. I was like, yeah, I've never seen Die Hard. And then, of course, you just get a whole bunch of stunned faces. Like, how could you have not seen Die Hard?
Yeah.
So I went and saw Die Hard, and it was great. I'm so happy I did. And I was guilted into seeing Die Hard.
I still haven't seen it either. So
well, we can go after work today.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get to. Actually, before we get to Evan's interesting character / non-work questions, we do need to play this ad from our international conference sponsor, Rouse Analytics.
Making critical decisions about rental rates and fleet management can be risky when you rely solely on limited data and anecdotal information from your customers and sales reps. They can't help you see the complete picture and understand what is happening in the market. But we can. We're Rouse Analytics, and we use actual rental invoices and daily fleet snapshots to provide rental business managers with the most accurate benchmark data available on rental rates and utilization by product and market. Easy to set up and simple to use. Our actionable intelligence is based on nightly fleet snapshots for over 45 billion worth of equipment and 20 billion in rental revenue. Our online portal is intuitive and designed for speedy analysis. And with automated alerts and email notifications, it works for you even when you're not actively using it. The Rouse Rental mobile app allows your reps to access your entire inventory within seconds, making it a snap to let your customers know what equipment you have available. When you sign up with Rouse Analytics, we give you a 60-day free benchmark trial with access to all available subscription and benchmark reporting, including detailed local market level rate comparisons by product. Rouse Analytics, groundbreaking innovation in business intelligence. Contact us now to schedule a demo.
Okay, Evan. One thing I know about you is you have an enthusiasm and a knowledge of escape rooms. Let's start off with, how did you discover escape rooms? Was this a result of, like, your parents, they seem like they were telling everyone not to trust you. So were you just a troublemaker and they locked you in rooms occasionally, or what happened?
Oh man. No, the truth is I have an enthusiasm for puzzles and brain teasers and that kind of thing. So, when I first discovered escape rooms, I played a company that doesn't exist anymore in Plano, actually. And, I was hooked, like, from day one. I was like, oh my God, you mean I can get locked in a room and, like, do puzzles and then get that little, good feeling from every single puzzle that you solve. And then you get out at the end and it's exciting. And then the next room I played, we didn't get out. And I was like, actually, I hate escape rooms. But it's turned into a passion and a love. And I have played hundreds of escape rooms around the world. And whenever we go somewhere now, we look up an escape room and we'll play one or two rooms, and started to develop friendships with local owners and kind of get into that scene and kind of understand what happens behind the curtain and how people actually create these things. And that's been an absolute blast for me. And so helping friends work on electronics puzzles and interactive puzzles. So I've definitely done a few of those things. So it kind of combines my love of programming and creating things with my love of problem solving. And so how could you go wrong?
Yeah.
So
at what point do you decide, hey, I'm going to start talking to the owners of these escape rooms? Because I know I like going to a lot of things, but I don't really think to, oh, hey, I should talk to the owners and find out how they're doing this business.
Well, the magic of the escape room business is that the sort of mom and pop escape rooms, it's very difficult to be massively profitable because you have to pay employees to be there to run the room. You have to pay for the air conditioning, the rent. And so if two people show up, they pay maybe $60, $70 to be there. And then you've got $60 to $70 of cost. It means that if you're going to a mom and pop escape room, the owner is probably there. They're probably the person who greeted you when you walked in the door. So I think it just happens naturally. So if you show up and you show an excitement and an enthusiasm for what they're doing, just like anybody who loves the things they create, they will absolutely want to spend time talking to you about their creation. And so it happened naturally. And, one owner knows another owner, and then you kind of start chatting with people and learn about what the challenges are that they have in their business and their puzzles and their, dealing with human beings and whatnot. And the fact that basically escape rooms have to be designed like prison cells because human beings are terrible about ripping stuff off of walls and tearing things and stuff. So it's a unique challenge.
I mean, that's where the clues would be is the things that you can tear down.
Oh yeah. I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago that they had somebody take the electrical outlets off the wall because they thought maybe the clue was in there. I'm like, no, it's a live electrical outlet. Like, what are you doing?
All right. Let's see. So you mentioned that you also design and will create some of the props. Is that something that you continue to do, or is that something that you did for a little while? Or
yeah, it's a hobby. So we did form an LLC to do it because anytime you interact with the public with something that plugs into the wall, probably a good idea. But it's a hobby, and we do it sometimes. I haven't done a project in probably 6 months at this point. Okay. Just because the right project hasn't come along. I like to do things that are interesting. There is nothing that ruins a hobby like turning it into a job. So
that's fair.
If I'm on somebody else's timeline and I need to deliver something that they want and I don't care about it, Like I'm not interested in doing that as my hobby. You know, if I needed it as a full-time job, sure. But luckily I'm at the point where I have my full-time job and I can pick and choose the fun hobbies and projects that interest me. And so I've developed some cool stuff over the years I'm really proud of. And some of them are still kicking around in different places. So it's always nice to see something I made.
So do you go and like check in on them like they're relatives or something, and you're just like, hey, I'm in this town. Let me go stop by this old computer thing you have.
Yeah. No, I really don't. I've actually gotten to the point now where I don't even want to maintain the long-term running of that stuff. So I have a network of friends and whatnot that I can pass projects off to. So when the biggest challenge is some, customer comes in and takes the thing I made and rips it off the wall and throws it on the ground and jumps on it or something. Like, man, I just don't want to fix that stuff. That's not fun. So,
yeah.
But there are people who that is their career and that's what they want to do. So I'm happy to let them do it.
Their career is pulling stuff out of walls and stomping on.
Actually it's like, it's the tire shop that throws nails in front of the building, Yeah, maybe there's something to that. And it's like, but no, I don't think so.
Okay, I've given you literally no preparation. Well, there's been a little bit of preparation. You're already thinking about escape rooms. Mm-hmm. Do you have like a top 5 list of the best escape rooms to go to? Or maybe if you don't have that specific, do you have like a top 5 cities to go for escape rooms?
Yeah, I can do both.
Let's just go with the first one then.
Okay.
Too many top 5 lists.
Yeah. Okay, number 1, Evan's number 1 in the world is Strange Bird in Houston, Texas, which is an experience unlike anything else. There's live actors. They're sort of set in 3 acts. You have the opening act, which is a Houdini seance. And then you have the actual escape room component where you're solving the puzzles and trying to help Houdini and whatever. Okay. And then you have the closing act, which is different actors doing different things.
Okay, I was going to say, don't spoil it too much.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Everyone needs to experience that. It's a great thing.
Okay, and, I was concerned that since you said Houston, it seemed like a bit of a homer pick there. Since
no,
from Houston.
Yeah, no, it's
but it sounds like quite a thing.
Yeah, it is quite a thing. It's amazing.
By the way, I mean we've already kind of ruined it, but normally when you have a top 5 list, you'll start at number 5 because you want to build up people's like.
Okay.
The
problem is I don't keep a top 5 list in my brain, so I'm making it up as we go.
Okay.
Well, we're going to go to number 2 because I don't know what number 5 would be.
Let's just go that way.
All right. Number 2 is going to be Cutthroat Cavern in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
So there's a company that owns haunted houses. Ooh. And in the off season, they run escape rooms. And so they take their haunted house building skills and they turn it into escape rooms. And so you've got these massive, expansive, interactive warehouses full of stuff. So Cutthroat Cavern, I forget what it is. I think it's like 6,000 square feet. It has a beach. It has water. It has a pirate ship. It has animatronic animals. It has all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So it's a fun experience. Everybody would enjoy it.
I like that you say in the off season for haunted houses.
Yeah.
Like the haunted house season is like really long. And it's like, during the couple months where people aren't going to haunted houses.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess we'll make an escape room.
It's a smart move on their part, I think. And the nice thing is they can actually keep their staff on full time. A lot of haunted houses kind of lose their entire staff at the end of the season and then have to go hire all new people. And it becomes difficult. And I guess Baton Rouge maybe is a market where there's cheaper real estate. I don't know, but it works well for them.
Sounds good. I like the idea of a beach in an escape room.
Yeah. Yeah. Stagnant water. And then for number 3, we're going to go to like a horror pick.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Zoe in LA.
Okay.
Where you get dropped off in a scary back alley and then you come in and there's, doll heads everywhere. And then they've got actors chasing you with chainsaws without the blades on them. And yeah.
You assume that they're without the blades.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, yeah, in the rental industry, whenever you rent a chainsaw, you should get a new blade. So, or at least a sharpened blade. But yeah, no, it's a great experience. And, the puzzles are, it's not about the puzzles. It's a haunted house where you have to solve some clues, basically. So it's a lot of fun. Not for the faint of heart, potentially.
Okay.
Man, I don't know where to go.
I think if you started off with saying horror, then you should probably be like, yeah, if you're gonna be scared of stuff, probably don't go to that one.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe if you are, it'll make it even better.
It's true.
There's
Yeah,
nothing like going to a haunted house with somebody who is actually afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go to a haunted house with one of my friends and he's like, yeah, I know this is stupid. I'm like, well, you're no fun.
Yeah.
We could go walk through a shopping mall with you and be the same.
It's fair.
Yeah.
We don't have to go to 5 if you don't want to. You got a top 3. That's
all right. That's good enough.
Since we already didn't go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 order.
Okay. I could give you like number 20 maybe.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
What's your 20th favorite? Okay, let's go. Let's move on to our next topic, hackathon.
Yeah.
So we recently got through a hackathon. What is a hackathon?
Yeah, so every year Point of Rental does a hackathon, which is where we give the developers free reign to do anything that they want to, that they think would, that they're excited about or that they think would have value. We don't limit them to just a certain list of things to do. We don't even limit them that it has to be in relationship to a product that we already have. It's just go for it and do something cool that's interesting. And the first 2 had an amazing result, and a lot of stuff and work that was done in those first 2 hackathons actually ended up in the products. And this third hackathon looks like it's going to be the same. So lots of really neat stuff. Some of it is absolute, pie in the sky. Yeah, I did the basics, but there's 700 more hours of work to finish it. But that's still great. It's useful to kind of see and experience what something could be like. Of course, as everyone is aware, over the last year, ChatGPT has become a big thing, and everybody is thinking about how it could improve their software, and we are the same. So we've already been playing around a little bit with ChatGPT in some of our tools, but the hackathon had an explosion of ChatGPT content, and hopefully some of this stuff will end up in the products and make people's lives a little bit easier and do the kinds of stuff that take a lot of energy from human beings, like writing descriptions of.
I was going to say, quit trying to take my job when you say writing. I don't like
writing. No, but what is the horsepower of a certain John Deere skid steer? Well, ChatGPT knows that. So
yeah, that's not real fun writing. So yeah, go ahead and replace that.
Yeah.
Speaking of ChatGPT, that reminds me, our webinar coming up in August is going to be about ChatGPT and how it's supposed to help rental businesses. So hey.
Yeah, I'm actually already at the point now where I get emails and I can it's probably written by ChatGPT. I don't know, maybe not.
I have met you. So. You don't write like this.
Yeah.
So as your nameplate on your office says Director of Global Technology, but
yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure which, but at your current level, are you still participating like directly in the hackathon, or are you just kind of like supporting it and supervising? I don't know if there's really supervision. It didn't seem like there was supervision when
it's the opposite of supervision. It's like we provided food and prizes and fun. We have like a patch every year that people can put on a jacket, and we have stickers that I can see on the back of your laptop.
Oh yeah.
And so it's a whole thing. Yeah. So there's not much supervision. I did do my own hackathon project though, which was primarily around internal knowledge management at the company.
Okay.
So kind of blending all of our different places that we put information about how the products work, how the company works. And so there will be more information about that soon once I am completely done and like ready to pull the velvet cloth off of it and kind of get everybody excited about knowledge management, which is not something that people are often excited about, but I think it's going to be a cornerstone of continuing to grow. So
cool. Well, if you need help internal marketing, just reach out to me.
Yeah, we'll do.
Or just have ChatGPT do it.
Yeah.
Okay. A while ago, I asked all of the leadership team for an irrational fear, and you listed flying.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I've noticed talking to a bunch of developers, a lot of them seem to be pilots. Why are you opposite of everyone else? What did you do wrong?
What did I do wrong? I'll tell you what I did wrong. I got food poisoning on a flight one time, and that was it, man. Like it took me 2 years. I still fly. Like I fly all the time.
I was gonna say I also know you travel a lot.
Yeah.
So how does this work?
And in those 2 years, I flew. So It was all about learning coping mechanisms and dealing with those things. I'll spare you the gory details of what it's like to have food poisoning on a flight. But yeah, it just sort of changes your brain chemistry. So I'm over it completely now, really. Like I don't have any of that fear anymore. I was able to work through it. So
Well, perfect.
I think it's good.
Good. Then it won't ruin my question in the 5 important questions about your greatest fear. So,
Okay.
so that's good. What's something that if I knew more about you, I would have definitely asked about because the people need to know it about you?
Oh, wow.
Andrew gave me a bunch of cool subjects, but I don't know which ones were going to be fruitful.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm a big maker of things. I love making things. I love solving problems. So a lot of my hobbies revolve around making things and solving problems. So I've done furniture making. I've made miscellaneous things around my house.
When you say
people,
when you say furniture making, what kind of furniture are we talking about here?
At the moment, it is mostly small furniture. So I have a wood shop in my garage actually, and I've made like end tables and other little furniture pieces. I made my dining room table at one point. That was my very first woodworking project. It was an absolute nightmare, and I'm surprised my wife and I are still married after that project. But since then, I learned a lot, and we learned a lot, and so that's one of the things we do together. Actually, is we'll go make little wooden projects and furniture pieces.
I was going to say, and that's why you make small furniture now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's something about trying to build your dining room table in your dining room without any of the proper equipment that helps you learn that actually having the proper equipment probably is the way to go.
Yes, I'm in a fairly similar situation at my house. It's like I kind of like making stuff with wood. I kind of remember shop class and my house. Yeah, we don't have any of the equipment, and it's like no, I just can't do anything.
Yeah. And the other trick is to convince your entire family that you don't really need cars in the garage. Like you can just have a wood shop in your garage.
It's true.
And the cars will be okay. So that was step one.
Okay, this is a wood shop garage now. So you build furniture and you do electronics. Have you ever integrated the two into like a really, I don't know, I can't even imagine what it would be integrated into.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's part of the fun. I've been working on a design in the back of my head for a kind of like hidden puzzle desk. So it's actually interesting. Back in I think it's the 18th century, this was pretty common. So they would build these desks and then have hidden compartments in them so that people could hide different things that they wanted to.
Yeah, I love a good hidden compartment.
I would love to take that and combine it with electronics to do things like have an RFID or some sort of way to access the hidden components of the desk. And it just looks like an ornate desk, but as you get closer into it, you realize that there's something else going on there. So I've never actually built it, but it sure does sound fun. So.
Oh, now I remember another thing that he had mentioned is you used to have a secret room in your old house.
Yeah.
Is that something that you built or did it like come with a secret room?
Oh no, we built it. We actually converted a closet.
Okay.
But
seems like a sane way of doing things instead of
yeah, rather than building the actual room out.
Yeah.
We are working on where we're going to put the secret room in the new house because, why not? Doesn't that sound like fun? Like everyone should have a secret room.
Exactly. Whenever I'm looking at real estate listings, it's like, no secret room.
Yeah. Well, and when we sold it, the couple who ended up buying the old house, I don't think they even cared about the secret room, which made me sad and want to not sell it to them. I just hope they didn't tear it out. Because there was a lot of time and energy put into sort of building the wall, the facade of the wall to make it completely hidden and integrated.
Yeah.
And then we did like an electronic latch so you could trigger it and then the wall would just kind of fall out. And then
Nice.
Pretty neat. So yeah, we're still working on version number 2.
Okay. Well, let me know. We'll have to do a little tour, video tour of Evan's secret room.
Sure. Then it won't be secret.
That's fair. Then you'll have to build another one. All right. What's something people misunderstand about you?
I don't know. I try to be an open book. So I want people to feel like they can be comfortable. And that, we're all trying to solve problems together. And that's part of being a technology leader is getting people comfortable with the idea that they can share They can share the challenges that they have. They can share where they're roadblocked. They can share when they've made a mistake, and that we're all going to work together to solve it. And so I don't feel like there's a ton of misunderstandings about me, because I really do try to do that. Because there's nothing worse than having a technology team that feels like they have to hide stuff from people because they don't understand what the perspective is. But that's a great question to ask somebody else. Like, what do you think?
Well, I was thinking, like, you seem generally affable, approachable, generally calm. Maybe you secretly have like all this rage built up inside of you, and you're like a huge metalhead, and you're actually just like the lead singer of a metal band. And, I mean, that'd be a good surprise.
I don't have any of those skills.
Okay. Well, all right. Last one before we get to the 5 important questions is: do you have any questions for me? Since I'm asking you a lot of questions, I want to give everyone a chance to ask one for me.
Okay. Brian, if you could eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, I mean, it'd have to be pizza, I think.
Yeah.
Big pizza fan.
Is it because there's a variety of pizzas?
I mean, that definitely plays a big role in it. But yeah, I mean, pizza good. Gets me my breads and my meats and my cheeses, and I could have veggies on there.
What if it could only be one specific pizza?
Well,
that's 3 questions so far. Sorry.
I mean, it's probably still on the short list, but then I have to start evaluating some other options, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now for the 5 important questions.
5 important questions.
5 important questions?
5 important questions.
First important question is: what would you say is your greatest success in life?
My greatest success in life is probably the software products that I've worked with the team to create. So I think Essentials is a big one. So we took that from nothing to being a fairly substantial product that touches a lot of people's lives. So, REI and Lowe's and Red Bull and Sodimac are the big customers using it. But the very first customer to ever use Essentials was actually the NBA. And so they used to keep track of where the trophy was and all this other stuff. And so that's a really big, important thing when I look back. But at the same time, we develop new things all the time. So we're working on a new mobile app product at the moment, and I'm going to be really excited when that's done. The difference, of course, is I didn't have any hand in programming the mobile app. Like, I was actually much more involved in Essentials kind of early on. So I feel like it's much more my child than some of the other things.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how does it compare when it's like, I created this, or I had a really big role in directly creating this, versus, hey, I was able to help lead a team that was able to create this. Like,
yeah, well, I love to take credit for the whole thing, right? So, well, and I mean that in a general way, that when my team succeeds, I'm part of that success, and when my team fails, I'm part of that failure. So it's we make mistakes, we have successes, and I think we should celebrate it all together. Obviously, I didn't write any of the code in the new mobile app function, but I am excited for the success of it, and I think that's fine.
Okay, that was a nicer way of putting it. I thought you were going to say, obviously I didn't write any of this, but I'm happy to take credit for it.
No, I don't mean it that way.
All right. What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear.
We've established it's no longer flying.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks. I was going to just have a cop-out answer. I don't know. I mean, I still have a fear of heights. Is that good enough? I mean, I don't want to say like, the eternal dread of the universe and the heat death of the sun or something, but
I mean, those are all okay.
Yeah.
Some people are a little more basic with their answer. Some people get real existential. It's all right.
Yeah. No, I still have a problem. Man, if there's a glass railing on a 3rd floor, I don't want to be anywhere near that.
Good thing we have a 1-floor office now.
Yeah, I don't have that problem here.
Okay, if you could tell first day at work, Evan, one piece of advice, what would you tell him? Sorry, at work at point of rental.
Right. Yeah, I would say, swing for the fences. Like, big changes make people think big, and this is your opportunity. And I think we did this to some extent, is to really think about Essentials as a new thing, solving a new problem for a new customer set. But we had a lot of opportunity that we eventually got around to when we really started thinking like big, like what about Lowe's, a big company like that. And we could have really been thinking big earlier on, I think, more than just thinking about the one specific use case that we had in mind. So,
okay. That's a good answer. All right. Now, what is your most embarrassing moment as a pointer?
Most
You've
embarrassing?
been here 10 years. You got to have something.
I don't know. That's one of those things you got to ask other people, I guess. But
ooh, I like that for a future question. What's the most embarrassing thing you've seen the person before you do?
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's probably something to do with getting a mute button wrong on a Zoom call or something.
That's pretty low level of embarrassment.
Nothing really comes to mind. I haven't I've had a couple of like trip and falls in front of people. I try not to do embarrassing things. We've certainly had flops in the development space, products that we developed that nobody wanted, but that does happen. So those kinds of little things, or big things as it were.
Okay, well, I'm gonna steal that one for the setup of the next one, which is sorry you've been sentenced to death as creating a product that people didn't want is now a capital offense.
Okay,
it's weird, not international law now. So, what is your last meal and why?
Oh, my last meal.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'd probably go eat something Cajun. I'd get a blackened redfish, some etouffee, dirty rice.
It sounds. I can hear the
potatoes.
Houston in you.
A little bit of Houston, a little bit of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Well, after Katrina, Houston is now the new New Orleans, I think. There's now Cajun food on every corner. So, that's where I'd go.
Okay.
I think it'd be great.
Any dessert?
Any dessert? Bread pudding.
Okay.
Whiskey, bourbon.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I didn't realize we were going to get this deep in this interview. I think the biggest thing, I do always strive to improve. I think that everybody should try to improve. And there's some certain innate pieces of us as human beings that are hard to rewire. But, the only way to grow is to improve. And so I've always tried to do that. The biggest thing that I've been doing recently is in my own personal space is working out a lot more, tracking diet, and all of these kinds of things. I would love to just take that to the next level, but man, it's hard. So
yeah,
a lot of energy.
I was gonna say one of the things is like let's say it's a change like that, and then you don't even have to necessarily go through it.
Yeah, absolutely. If it was a change like that, then I just look like Ryan Gosling tomorrow.
Okay. What is your spirit spice?
My spirit spice?
Yes.
Well, once again, growing up in Texas, it's hard for it not to be cumin because it's in, chili and Mexican food and all of those kinds of things. But I'm going to go for cinnamon.
Okay.
Because it's kind of sweet and everybody likes it.
Okay. I think that describes you. I like that you even have a shirt that's similar in color to both of those.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a secret about point of rental.
Secret about point of rental?
Yeah. When we say secret, it doesn't need to be something that I don't know. It has to be something that, general public probably wouldn't know.
Yeah. One of the things that I think's most interesting about this space is just how we're poised to grow, like in everything that we do. Like we want to help more people solve more problems, and it goes down to everything that we do. So it's a big focus on improving the way our products are improving, adding new products. But the secret is actually even in the physical world. Like we own this building here on 8 acres, and it's amazing. This is a great space. And what people don't know is that there's actually space in this lot for 2 more buildings to match this one. And so just in everything that we do, kind of being ready to help more people solve more problems. And if that means that the company grows, we have space for them too. And I think it's just a way of thinking about our market. So unlike a lot of kind of the traditional rental competitors that have been okay with where they are, us actually realizing early on that this is a market that's changing and it's going to continue to change, and being ready to handle those changes, and then being ready to help customers through the changes as well. So
now, what's something, whether relating to our software or not, that you could teach a 3 to 5 minute class about?
It's funny. I actually do fairly regularly. Well, I guess I used to. I haven't done it recently. Host a class on Microsoft Excel.
Okay.
I know that seems silly, but just doing the little things, the kind of on the edge of programming that isn't programming for the rest of the business. So being able to watch somebody in support pour through a bunch of data they got sent by a customer, and being able to do that in 30 seconds versus 30 minutes, just with a little bit of Excel training. I've lived in Excel my whole life, and it's not the best programming language in the world. It doesn't accomplish the most of anything, but you can do a lot. You can get right on the edge there. So that's one kind of odd thing.
All right. I might ask you to produce something like that.
Sure.
Now it's something you'd be excited to teach a 3 to 5 minute class about.
Excited. I would be excited to do embedded electronics. So doing essentially embedded logic controllers and interaction with people. So I think that'd be fun. It's one of my hobbies that I love. So
cool. All right. Well, thank you, Evan, for chatting today. And to anyone that made it to this point with us, thank you for listening out there. We'll keep the porch light burning for you.
yeah, thank you.